Say, let's say your name, age, and the years you've been coming to Gilman.
My name's Liz Rose. I'm 19, and I've been coming to Gilman for 5 years.
So when did you start volunteering?
3-ish years ago, about 3.5, give or take. It was, well, volunteering regularly, being a staffer. I'd always, done hand stamp or membership to not have to pay for shows because I couldn't bring up the money, but, being a regular staffer and coming to meetings and having keys, about 3 years.
So why'd you decide to start volunteering a bit more in-depthly?
Because Gilman was the one place where I could come and not feel anxious or unwanted or ostracized, which is pretty cliche to say, but it also felt like an off switch. I've had struggles with mental health and addiction issues in the past, and there's that whole oh, well, I have no off switch, and that is so true, but for a while coming to Gilman felt like it gave me an off switch.
Sweet. So what's your current position?
I am a sound engineer. I turn knobs and push faders. That's a bonus.
So I guess just describe your position and how it relates to the function and or organization of the club.
Well, a sound person is kind of self-explanatory. We run the sound of the show. So there's usually one engineer here per night if it's a bigger show, or if a keyed engineer is training an intern, there might be two. But we come here at load-in, we set up all the mics, talk to the bands, run the sound throughout the show, do mic changes in between bands, and then stay after to clean up and take care of the equipment and whatnot.
Do you guys offer equipment, or do bands bring their own equipment?
We have mics, cables, and stands, and some effects here, but amp-wise and stuff, cabs, heads, that's all the band. Sometimes they'll bring their own mics that they want to use, but that's about it.
All right, for sure. So how often do you go to meetings, and why do you think they're important as a community member? Why do you get involved with them?
I go to every single one unless I just can't. Something comes up that prevents me from going to a meeting. I think in the past year or so, the dynamic of meetings has changed, but they're important because it keeps all staffers, no matter what, accountable, and it keeps everyone in communication and updated about what's going on in the club. And also what's cool about Gilman is that whether everything gets voted on, all executive decisions get made by the membership with a vote, and whether you're ahead of a position or you work membership regularly, you all have one vote, so it's equal, and I like that a lot.
Sweet. So how would you describe the community that Gilman fosters? How have you seen it change in the time that you've been here?
Well, I think it changes as a whole regularly, and it also changes relative to yourself when you start progressing in terms of getting more involved at Gilman. When I was just a Gilman rat, it was oh, I get to go hang out with my friends and go see a show, and I'll feel wonderful, and it's that amazing internal feeling of fuck, this is my teenage years, holy shit, this is amazing. And that community was great because it normalized the fact that I was feeling crazy, and I felt like I wasn't the only one. But working on staff regularly for 3 years now, it's changed a lot. The community also changes, but it's become more of in an articulate way.
Take your time.
It teaches you how to work with very difficult people, and it teaches you how to let go of certain things, and you definitely go through the grieving process a lot, whether it's how you used to feel about Gilman or what Gilman used to do to you, or a staffer leaves or something like that. The community now is, everyone will say something different. It's definitely not what it used to be when I started coming here 5 years ago. Our rat population has gone down exponentially. I think we have 10 regulars maybe now. We a lot of staffers have left. There's a lot of internal conflict, but it's people stay. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I've wanted to leave Gilman in the past year a lot. Um, but I stay because Gilman saved my life. The people here saved my life. And to just abandon it would not be fair, and I want to give back to Gilman as much as I can in return for what it gave to me when I really needed it. And right now I think Gilman needs people who have been here to stay and to stick it out.
So along that line, what do you think's like the nominal dangers to the Gilman community right now?
For lack of a better term, dictators, people who think that they have the right to just make any decision they want without letting anyone else know, a sense of entitlement when they come here, turning certain positions into power plays, manipulating, lying, doing things behind the community's back, shady shit like that, not staying in communication and not being honest about your intentions.
And that's like within the community.
Oh, absolutely. It's the people who come in here with only self-interest. They want to use the Gilman name to build up their reputation. They'll do anything to get on top, and they don't care who they step on.
What about like outside of the community? Do you feel like there's any pressure out there?
I mean, I'm now working outside of Gilman, and I have friends in bands, and I work with bands outside of Gilman, and there are some people who are like, oh, you're still at that fucking place. There's a lot of, I think, bias and negativity with certain people towards Gilman because maybe they had a bad experience or they came and left at a volatile time, and a lot of their points are valid, but it can go either way in terms of if you say like, oh, I work at Gilman Street, some people will be like, oh, that place, that's so cool, and other people will be like, ooh, I'm gonna write you off now. And as for pressure from the community, like what harms Gilman Street outside of Gilman is the physical outside of Gilman. People drinking and fighting outside. People not respecting the fact that there are staffers here. We don't get paid. We come here and spend hours and hours and hours just to do all this, and it's disrespectful. It's the interview for the project thing.
What's up? Hello.
Hey, we're doing an interview for Tate's project.
For what?
Tate's project?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it's just the people who don't necessarily respect that we put a lot of time and energy into keeping this place up.
Here, give it a second. This quick intermission break.
That's just the best.
Okay.
And then just kind of blatantly disregard the fact that, like, the neighbors here, they are here too, and this is their space as well. And, you know, I sound fucking old when I say this, but, like, being rowdy, throwing fucking glass bottles on their front lawn, that's not cool to them, that's not cool to us. And that makes it so more cops show up here, that makes it so we're being watched more. And these, like, the people that do that are the ones who want to come to Gilman. So it's like, if you want this place to stay up, don't do the shit that could get us shut down.
I feel it. So, again, along those notes, what do you think's required for Gilman's survival throughout the ages?
I mean, there's the financial end of we really just have to keep afloat. We have to have shows that draw, and every show can't just be, like, thrown together, but we also have to have a balance in, like, everything. There has to be the people that are, like, the hardcore DIY local bands, percentages instead of guarantees, all that stuff, but we also have to have the people that are like, well, we're going to get this show and it's going to have a pre-sale and we're going to get a lot of money for Gilman for it. It's all within balance, and it's people working with each other and making compromises sometimes and letting go of the need to be right.
What do you think about, like, in terms of, I guess, evolving the community in order to fit a wider, like, do you think that Gilman should change its demographic necessarily in order to like be more opening to other like groups of people, or do you think that there's like a thing about the Gilman ethos where it's like it's always going to be like this kind of music or this kind of art that you see here, and if that dies here, then Gilman dies with it?
I mean, it's sort of a double-edged blade. It's like, dialectically, yes, anyone is welcome here. We can say that, but honestly, if you're quote-unquote normie and you walk in here and there's a hardcore punk show, it may not feel very welcoming. We also have a hell of a lot of hardcore shows, and like not a lot of ska nights, not a lot of folk punk, not a lot of pop punk, and diversifying Gilman is definitely needed. But even like in the past year, there's just been this huge divide of, you need to meet this certain requirement. You need to like interview to get in. You need to do this to get in. There's like a hierarchy, and I think that's detrimental to what Gilman is, to the Gilman ethos of like, if you're here and you want to contribute, you will be allowed to contribute, and we will welcome you. And there's not this, you need to prove yourself over and over and over and jump through hurdles and deal with all this manipulative bullshit just for no results. And I think that it's keeping Gilman open to the people who want to be here and not pushing them out.
Awesome. Okay. That